What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. So game week 9 has just ended and we are moving on swiftly to look ahead to game week 10. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys got on game week 9, whether you had Salah captain, whether you had other players, for example the Chelsea defence that did well for you. Let me know in the comments down below, and while you are there, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But as we move on towards game week 10, as we start thinking about our teams, so I'm sure we all are, even though the game week before has only just ended, I'm going to have a look at my team, how we're shaping up, how I'd line up if I made no transfers, the money I've got in the bank, the transfers that we have in the pipeline, everything like that, just to help you get the ball rolling with your FPL teams and with your game week now that game week 9 has officially ended. So you can see below me I have one free transfer and I have a massive 4.7 million in the bank. This was because, of course, Lukaku was injured and I sold him for Ivan Toney going into game week 9, and I also upgraded Mason Greenwood to Kai Havertz for a -4. So those are my transfers last week, but that's why I have so much money in the bank, because I sold Lukaku, as I'm sure many of you did as well. So in terms of how my team is lining up for game week 10 at the moment, we have Sanchez in goal, who has Liverpool away, so let's hope for some more save points. They had 2 difficult fixtures in game week 9 and then this in game week 10. Hopefully a few points for him before we go back into a good run of fixtures from game week 11. A really nice looking defence with Cancelo, Trent and Rudiger. So Cancelo, Crystal Palace at home, Brighton home for Trent and Newcastle away for Rudiger. Rudiger, when I do play my wildcard, I'll probably move on for the likes of Reece James or Chilwell with a bit more attacking threat, but for the time being he's good enough in there, especially with those crazy runs he's making upfield at the moment. In midfield we have Salah, Benrahma, Havertz and Sarr. Again, decent enough fixtures. It's probably where I'll be looking to use my free transfer depending on injuries, depending on availability and things like that. And then up front we have Antonio, Toney and Hwang. Now the one that is worth noting is Rafinha, who is Norwich away, so we're all looking to target that Norwich away fixture, whether it's for Chelsea this week, then we've got it for Leeds next week. He is currently yellow flagged and we don't know whether he's going to be back. He did post on social media that he is fine, it's nothing serious, but whether he'll be back and available to play just 1 week after that tackle from Saiss in the game week 9 fixture, we don't know. So I will be looking out whether he's available to play. He'll come into Benrahma's position if he is available, and Benrahma will drop to the bench and he'll either be sold and Sarr will be dropping to the bench, or he'll be sold and the starting player will come into that position in that lineup. So this is how we're lining up, but we move on and have a look potentially at how my transfers could be made and anything like that. Players that I'm potentially thinking of selling this week. Antonio was going to be on the chopping board, but he got a goal in game week 9, so that's fine. Benrahma, Sarr and then potentially an injured Rafinha are the 3 players that I'd be considering looking at, and with a lot of money in the bank I have a lot of potential midfielder replacement that I could get this game week. So, team up on screen, let's have a look at some of those potential midfielder replacements. So, if we just take out Benrahma so we can have all the money in the bank we could potentially want, and we go into that select replacement option and we have a look at some of these midfielders. So, Son I could get. Now, the fixture next week is against Manchester United, and you might all be thinking, great, they conceded 5 goals to Liverpool. Get Son in, he's got Manchester United, there'll be a good amount of goals in that game for Tottenham. Now I do think that there'll be a new manager in charge of Manchester United by next game week, and I do think that that's a bit reactionary to go and jump on Son. Now I do think he's a good option, and if you're buying him for the long run for sort of game weeks 12 to 17 and then beyond that to game week 21 as well, Son is a really nice option to go with. However, I don't necessarily think I need to buy him this week, and there are probably midfielders that I could get with a bit of more of an upside and a bit more points potential this week. If we look a bit further down the list, Mane I would love, but I don't quite have the budget to go and get him in. Townsend in there as well, potentially one. Damari Gray of Everton as well are other options that we could go with. So if we change the sort by price here, the other ones that of course stand out is Foden of Manchester City, who now he's got his run in the team does look really good. Crystal Palace at home does look great in game week 10. However, there is a bit of concern here for me about whether he'll start that. A difficult fixture against Manchester United, of course, away, the Manchester derby in game week 11 is something to note, and they have a big Champions League match in between game week 10 and 11. So there is part of me that thinks Phil Foden could be on the bench for Manchester City against Crystal Palace. And then other ones that we look at, Jota, I do think he's still a rotation threat even though he scored in that fixture. And then we move down the list and there is nothing particularly exciting until we get down to some of the more cheaper assets, and the one that continues to stand out for me is Mbeumo of Brentford. Now he didn't get a return in game week 9 and he got taken off early, But if we look at those next 3 fixtures, Burnley away, Norwich at home and Newcastle away, it would still leave me with just as much money in the bank. But if I'm looking to target the fixtures for the next few weeks before I go and play my wildcard, this is definitely a transfer that I am looking to make. So Mbeumo in would free up even more money, and then I could potentially go invest it all in one player for game week 11 as I'm making that big wildcard decision, I think, ahead of game week 12 during the international break. So that is one that I'm definitely thinking of. I got Tony last week to try and target these fixtures, and I could double up with Mbeumo as well to add on top of that. Now, elsewhere, there isn't that much that I could potentially go with. It really would be if I want to go up to the likes of Son, a bit more explosive, or do I go Foden, or do I go down with the likes of Mbeumo? I could go Mount. They do have a nice couple of fixtures as well over the next 2, and double up with Kai Havertz. Do I think Mount is going to score a hat-trick every week? I don't think so. But just a few players. I think it's Son, Foden, Mount or Mbeumo who are my potential Benrahma replacements, or Rafinha if he is then ruled out as well. Final thing that's worth discussing is could I wildcard this week? If we look at my team now, I would probably sell Luke Ayling because I'd want Livramento in there. Sanchez, debatable, we'll keep him in the team at that moment. Rudiger I'd want to change, and Ben White I'd also want to change if I was on a wildcard. If I was on a wildcard looking at the way my midfield is lined up here, Benrahma would go, Sarr would go, Kai Havertz I'd want to keep for a few more weeks, and then up front I'd probably keep it as it is at the moment. So the reason I plan on holding my wildcard until game week 12 is because someone like Kai Havertz I'd probably want to sell. I'd probably think about moving on Sanchez. I'd know a bit more about what's going up with the forward line as well, and then with Rafinha and everything like that. So there are changes that I'd want to make, but at the moment a lot of them are to my bench, and I think if I wait to that game week 12, something like Havertz to Son is something really worth looking at, and then some of those cheap defenders I can go and get in whilst I'm doing that as well. So at the moment I don't plan on playing my wildcard now, but it is something that is on my mind. But I think I will attack and continue to attack the fixtures for the next couple of weeks before playing my wildcard over the international break. So here are just a first few thoughts of my team ahead of the game week 10 deadline next weekend. If you have enjoyed, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Drop any of your comments, any of your questions down in the comment section below. While you are there, do like and subscribe, and if I don't see you before the game week 10 deadline, good luck, but I will see you all very soon.